Many thanks for tuning in to CAC TV, and this is Power Brief. We appreciate your overwhelming responses on our social media platforms. Dr. Abraham Korir Singoe is in the house. He is a man who is telling us as it is. Not that he had, not that he saw, but he experienced it himself. He has put his life on the line fighting for the minorities, for the inclusion of those that have been forgotten in public appointments and in different considerations. And we are looking on this hot debate of the inclusivity in our public appointments in the Republic of Kenya. Daktari, before we broke, we were really looking at where this thing began, where we are, and what we can do. Marginalization has been a very critical matter in this country. And we go back to our counties. This is Trans Nzoia County, where you come from. And your history has shown that in most instances you've had even to sacrifice your own personal ambitions just to see that such a county people are able to keep together. After the elections of 2017, that is the gubernatorial elections, some activists went to court. Actually, they were complaining about the appointments of the current governor, Patrick Khaemba. When they got there, the High Court judge then, that was Judge Anthony Charom Rima, referred them back to the governor, saying that if the case proceeds, then it will have to derail the development agenda of the county, and then they said, go back and talk to the governor. And these people were actually disoriented in a way. In your own expert opinion, how do such a matters go? Because now the last resort, people believe that it is the courts which are to interpret the laws, but they were turned back.
When you look at the objectives, of devolution in Article 174 of the Constitution, you would see that devolution was designed to bring services closer to the people. It is also designed to be the space within which greater inclusion of marginalized communities can be facilitated at both the executive, in terms of in terms of the county executive, in terms of the county public service, but also in terms of the county assembly, where there is a percentage dedicated to membership, to nomination of members from marginalized communities as well as women, to ensure that not more than a third of the representatives are from one gender. So the county is the space for addressing marginalization. It is the most critical space for addressing marginalization. However, what is the practice? The practice has been that counties have instead become the space for perpetuating and entrenching marginalization and exclusion. Most of our counties, more than 70% of our counties, are multi-ethnic. Whether you look at Nakuru, whether you look at Laikipia, whether you look at Narok, whether you look even at Kajiado, and all the way down to Western in Trans Nzoia and other places, you will see that most of our counties are multi-ethnic. Unfortunately, what happens in practice is that in terms of appointments, depending on the ethnic community where the governor belongs, the representation of that ethnic community has always been greatest, in a manner that completely contradicts the intentions of the Constitution. And therefore, and this we can say with respect to various other areas. Even in terms of jobs, forget even about participation or representation at the highest executive level in terms of county executive. In terms of the way the county service boards operate, the way they recruit, the opportunities that are availed to the citizens of that county, you would find that again, the same discrimination in appointment processes are perpetuated, by the county service boards. As a matter of fact, the county government of Kiambu actually came up with a law that was providing or prescribing that 90% of employees in Kiambu County must be from Kiambu, must be of a particular ethnic community. All right? And that is a problem. How does that square with the idea we were trying to propose earlier on, which is we are trying to build one country. We are trying to build a Kenyan nation. How does a law like that foster inclusion? How does it facilitate respect for diversity? And so counties that were constitutionally intended to drive inclusion, to open up opportunities for even the most marginalized, have become instead avenues that facilitate exclusion, discrimination, and non-participation. And that's one of the things that must change, whether via BBI or via practice and via stronger enforcement. We cannot have the judiciary take, a casual view of it. We cannot have a judiciary that basically washes its hands like Pilate and decides that this is not a matter that we can adjudicate over. The courts are specifically mandated by the Constitution to advance rights. And one of the rights is the right to participate, the right not to be discriminated against, etc., etc. How can the court look aside on the face of a very serious, grave violation of the right not to be discriminated against? So it is very important, again, to ask ourselves, what role have the courts played in terms of ensuring institutional integrity, from the standpoint of ensuring inclusion? To what extent, what roles have courts played in terms of holding these commissions or these institutions accountable to the citizens of our country, especially in relation to the inclusion agenda?
Now, Daktari, in conclusion, Kenyans have heard you, they have seen you all over. Remember, our show is live all over the world. We've seen what is bedeviling this country when it comes to inclusion and all these matters. Your parting shot, moving the way forward. Maji ndio yamemwagika au imeteleza, kuteleza si kuanguka. What is the way forward now, in summary?
I think in summary, I would say that Kenya is a great country. We have a great people. We have rich and diverse cultures. We can choose to magnify our differences. We can choose to make a big deal about why we cannot work together. But it has pleased God to put us in one country called Kenya. The 43 of us as communities. It has pleased God to put the 48 million of us or more under this country, under this rubric called Kenya. It behooves all of us, especially the political leadership, to bring our citizens together. It behooves those institutions that have been vested with the mandate of facilitating inclusion at the national level, including the Public Service Commission, and at the county level, the county public service boards. It behooves them to ensure that there is a transparent modality in appointing Kenyans and apportioning them positions in different institutions. Lastly, and more pertinently, institutions that are seized with the mandate of monitoring diversity and promoting diversity. The Cohesion Commission, the Gender and Equality Commission, the Commission on Administrative Justice. All these commissions need to come up with frameworks that will truly ensure that the country moves forward towards a much more cohesive society. And lastly, we have no choice. We must promote our national language. Swahili is our national language. Swahili ni lugha ya taifa, lazima tuikuze, lazima tuitumie katika institutions zote za taifa letu, so that our country can cohere as a true beacon of peace and democracy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sing'oei. It's been a wonderful session, an inspiring moment, informative and educative. You could feel the passion, a man who has dedicated his life in believing that Kenyans, human beings, are one and they can work together. We also appreciate your feedback on our social media platforms and your participation. We thank you and we do not take it for granted. Till next time, for me, Cornelius Omuse, I wish you a good evening and keep on watching CAC TV and tuning in to Power Brief. Thank you.